Good evening, everybody. This is Mike Monty, one half of Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. We're produced out of Indie Music TV in New York. That's Ron Conkema, New York. Yes, again, that's Indie Music TV. You could also catch us on RTF Sports Network. That's RTF Sports Network, the #1 growing streaming sports network on the air today. Catch us every Thursday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Yes, we're their anchor show. And catch our rerun on a morning drive time from 10 to 11 a.m. You could also catch us on the Monty and the Pharaoh YouTube page, the Facebook Live Monty and the Pharaoh page, Twitch TV Monty and the Pharaoh page, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, or any streaming network. We're on it. You can find us anywhere. Also catch us on New York Cable, Channel 115, every Tuesday from 8:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Also catch us Saturday mornings on Channel 115 from 6 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. And catch us Saturday morning at 1:30 a.m. on Channel 20. Soon we'll be coming to Amazon, so catch us there also. We want to thank everybody for the support. And again, please catch us every Thursday, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., Monty the Pharaoh, Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, new, old, endangered, and let's have a little fun. Talk to you soon.
Hey! Nikita Koloff, the Russian Nightmare! And you're watching the #1 show on Long Island with Monty and the Pharaoh. Ha!
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty and the Pharaoh, seen only here at Indie Music TV. At the helm is super producer Matt. How are you, my friend?
Chugging along, just great.
Thank you for the great interview with Ken Patera.
Yeah, that was great.
And to the right is none other than the star of the show, Mr. Jimmy Pharaoh. Jimmy, how are you, buddy?
Feeling nasty. Back again for another round.
Look at you.
Yeah.
How'd you like that Patera interview, buddy?
I loved it. It was great seeing somebody that goes back to the very early beginnings of my fandom. That was fantastic.
So this is kind of like the beginning of your fandom and now the middle of your fandom?
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
Right?
considering it's a 40-year history of me watching this, 45 plus or so.
If anyone doesn't know, in studio we have future Hall of Famers, the Nasty Boys, on the couch, along with pro wrestling superstar Mr. Andrew Anderson, who will pop in shortly also. But before we introduce the stars of the show, the Nasty Boys, I want to thank the band that sings the theme song for Monty and the Pharaoh Wisteria Hall, led by our own Jimmy Pharaoh, along with his partner Bart Griggs. They sing songs such as Not Far Behind, Here Comes the Rain, and you can find their music on Spotify, iTunes, and Reverb Nation. Sorry, I got a frog in my vote, so whatever. You can catch Monty Nefaro on the Monty Nefaro YouTube page, the Facebook Monty Nefaro page, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Twitch TV, RTF Sports Network twice. That's on Monday and Friday. Channel 115 on New York Cable Television. That's from 7 to 7:30. And then on Saturdays from 6 a.m. to 6:30. That's Channel 115. And then catch on the Faro time Friday on Channel 20 at 1:30 in the morning. Those for the late night partiers.
That's right.
We'll be right back after the sponsors with the Nasty Boys. You need a body shop? You need engine repair? Auto Excellence. Collision Specialists. 631-261-6420. That's 631-261-6420. Auto Excellence.
That's right, folks. Canine Corral for all your dog daycare and overnight care. Call 631-549-1544. That's 631-549-1544. And APB, American Protection Bureau, voted #1 best on Long Island for all your security needs. Call 631-390-9050. That's 631-390-9050. APB.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Monty Farrow, only seen here at Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, New York. What an honor. I want to thank... Here are future Hall of Famers, one of the greatest tag teams to ever step in a pro wrestling ring, the Nasty Boys. Thank you, guys. Thank you for coming in.
Hey, thanks for having us, Monty and the Pharaoh, brother.
So wait, we're in Longcock, Longcock in
Not
New York?
Longcock. Ronkonkoma, New York. So a lot of the Long Island cities...
I like Longcockama better.
Yeah, well, me too. But
I would like that, but when you're big and you only have a 2-incher.
Hey, you're not the only one, bro. Don't worry about it. We're on the same boat.
Speak for yourselves. Oh my God.
That's all Indian names, right?
It's all Indian names.
We're from in Pennsylvania. I was born in Hockendaka. Across the river was Catasauqua.
Yeah,
they're all Indian names.
There's nothing like living in places that you can't even pronounce. Yeah,
but they
I can't even pronounce.
Something in the Indian language. The chief had Long Kaka, and they just made it a thing. He was, having all the...
Was he part of the Fakawi tribe? You know where the Fakawi?
What a Fakawi,
yeah. We go.
He was in the...
Nothing like that Laurel and Hardy slapstick humor or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Chief Small Pencil.
Speaking of growing up in Pennsylvania, this is probably the most amazing thing about you guys. How the fuck are you guys still friends after all these years?
Well, we formed our own tribe, the Chickasaw Suck-a-Dick Indian Nation. We was formed, and then we were our own.
No, but we've been friends since then. Played Little League Little League baseball, and we became friends. And he had this tooth. He only had a half a tooth, right? And I go, what happened? And he said, my brother shot it out with a BB gun, and I went, oh, man, I think I'm going to be friends with you, And then since we're 10, we've been best of friends and went through high school. I didn't go through middle school with him because I went to a Catholic school, and...
you went to Catholic school?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
I'm picturing this.
I don't know. I guess the priest didn't find me attractive because nothing ever happened to me. I swear.
Maybe you heard about the 2-incher.
I was an
Pat Patterson did though, right?
I did get the magic wand, which was bend over and he whaps you with this paddle.
Oh my God!
You thought it was a paddle.
Yeah.
Little did you
Who knows
know
what was happening.
The Father, the Son, and the Holy Slap.
Before we got there, I'd sneak in and get some of the wine that we were going to use for the... No, I'm only kidding.
How'd you guys come up with the idea to be pro wrestlers?
we didn't.
You didn't?
No, it just came to us. We had no fucking choice.
Well, he got the kind of... he had a scholarship to go play college ball. He had to get his grades up. He went to a junior college. And while he was there, he hit the hall monitor overhead with a keg of beer. What? So that, I don't know why. Or
while he was getting his grades up, he hit the hall monitor with a keg of beer?
Well, during where they were at their fraternity there, or dorm. And then I was in the Army, and was in for about 2 or 3 years. And then they had a weight thing, and I was 210 pounds, and I had to be 208. So I come home, and he's already getting shit canned out of the college thing, and he goes, "Do you like it in there?" I said, "Well, not really anymore. My 2 buddies that were in already had left, and they're the ones that got me in, Lorenzo and Hoots." And all of a sudden, he goes, "Well," I said, "well, they got me on this weight thing. If I don't lose the weight, they said they're, honorable discharge." But at the time, they were really thinking on the weight, so we proceeded to eat 30, 40 cheeseburgers a piece of McDonald's. I was home for a 30-day leave. I came back at like 250, and they freaked out, and they said, "Drizovich, you got a month to lose it. You're out of here." And I said, "Okay, whatever." And I couldn't lose that much in that amount of time, and got an honorable discharge and everything. But the real crazy thing was, this is the 80s now, 1981, 82. Go from there, 2009 or 2010, Jimmy Hart asked me, and it was me, Greg the Hammer, Jimmy, and Jimmy got the thing set up, and 2 divas, SoCal Val and Brooks. Kelly Brooks? She was in TNA.
Okay.
But anyway, we all went over, and we were there for 31 days in Iraq, and we were gone from in the morning. We'd leave, spend 4 hours at each base, and it was a great thing to see, and the soldiers were so happy, and for me to give back, and I was already in there, but to see how our soldiers were treated over there, and they're playing the Kardashians over here, and not even showing what our troops were going through. It was an eye-opening experience.
So
but
you
the
got to
thing
come
was,
full circle, kind of. You got to go from being in the Army to wrestling in front of the Army.
But my good old friend Jimmy Hart kind of slid one by me because he knows I like beer. He goes, "Don't worry, Knobs. They have beer on the base. It's a Muslim country. There ain't no alcohol there." Mm-hmm. But then I found out, they got it. Some of the Army guys knew the deals and that, but it was a real good experience to go back there, and we had a great time.
Okay, tell them why you're telling the story. You met your sergeant there. That's why you started it. Can you get to the point? You're just rambling on here.
So anyway,
what the fuck is he doing?
Definitely a tag team.
I walk in though, but we're in the chow hall in Mosul, Iraq, and the black guy, and I said, "Hey," he reminded me of LT, and I'm going, "You remind me of Lawrence Taylor." So then we sat with the troops, and he was there as a civilian. So he came over, he says, "Hey, come sit with mine," and he started this wrap up, and I said, "Your last name ain't Barry, is it?" He goes, "How do you know that?" I said, "Sergeant Barry, it was my battery commander from Fort Hood, Texas." Yes. And I didn't see him. 26 years later, I see him in Mosul, Iraq. So that night when we're signing for all the troops, he stood right next to me, and he was like a drill sergeant. "This is my soldier. I trained him. He became a pro wrestler." He was so happy and everything like that. Gave me his number, and still in touch with him today yet, Sergeant Barry. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know.
Sags, I wanted to ask you, Sags, how do you guys keep a relationship so strong after all this time?
You mean me and Knobs?
What? Yeah, Knobs.
What relationship?
Well, I want to ask you though. How do you guys keep so tight?
You and Knobs.
Well, it's part of being growing up together and tag team together. It's like a ongoing thing with your friends for life. Our grandfathers partied together, worked at cement mills together. They drove Harleys together back in the 30s and 40s when all that kind of stuff.
But your parents didn't pair you guys up. You just met in the playground?
No, I actually was tried out for baseball down in my neighborhood, and they cut me, and I came home and was pissed off, and because my old man would tell me, "Take your fucking glove and your thing, you go up and prove yourself up there." You know what I mean? All the other kids had their dads out there up the coach's ass and all that stuff, So which kid gets cut? Oh, he's done. Get out of here. I was pissed.
Okay.
So the next thing, one of our neighbors, they need Styles up there. It's hockey and Styles. They need kids on the team. I go on this team, and who do I meet but him? And then a bunch of other friends are lifelong friends too. So I'm on this baseball team, and he takes me home. He takes me home to his house, an old farmhouse up in in Stiles, Pennsylvania, which is we grew up in Whitehall, outside Allentown. We're close to here. Got a couple out, due west, but go home and hey, his Grammy's cooking something in the kitchen, and he goes, hey Grammy, this is Sagsy, and she a weird look at me. She goes, Sags, like Saganovich, because we're Polish, and she goes, are you Stevie Saganovich's grandson? I went, yeah, and a big smile came up on her face.
Okay.
And here we met, but she was good friends with my grandfather. He's Jan Drizovich, I'm Saganovich, and it reminded me that his grandpop was crazy like him. He hit a pole doing like 60, 70 with the Harley, the old K models,
Yeah.
and then he was loaded up and hauling ass, and that's how he died young, and his Grammy had to raise the family.
Yeah.
He was fucking crazy like we are.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like almost certain things are meant to be.
Just meant to be.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like
Feels that way.
somebody put
Hearing
us
it.
together there, at that point in life.
Oh, yeah.
And then the rest was history, and we, there's 3 or fuck-offs in high school and fighting, and then we get both kicked. I get kicked out of college, he gets kicked out of the Army. Now we're fighting again, and beers and boozing and fucking up. And,
the
they're like,
bouncers
you
and
guys
stuff
need,
like
a bunch of our friends, local cops, Matt Millen, our good buddy, played for the Raiders, and listen, everybody, you guys got to get the fuck out of here. Why don't you do that? You're fighting all the time anyway. Go into that wrestling or something. That's when we started chasing down, for some reason, the guy that we were going to look for information about wrestling.
Okay.
Is a guy eating turnbuckles and going, you, with George Steele.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, my
So
God.
But
I lived 2 miles from Mag Hall.
Okay.
Where they taped WWF, the old Vince McMahon Sr. taped television. Well, George Steele, Gorilla Monsoon, Andre, Ringer's Roost, the bar across the street. All the guys would sit there and drink, then go over and shoot TV. That's where, the thing was there. That's where Snuka hit, Piper hit Snuka with the coconut.
Yeah,
was
you
at
go.
Hamburg.
Yeah.
There you go.
They'd shoot in Allentown and Hamburg.
Right.
And then on a mile and a half from my house, the George Washington Motor Lodge.
Yeah.
That's the GW, where it's where all the guys would stay that coming into town, right on Route 22, 78, that shoots over to New York, and this was the territory,
Right.
So, we wake at first. My mind as a kid waking up on Saturday mornings, and you see Roddy on there, and he's doing his shtick, Piper draw your face right to the fucking tube, and you're like, what's this shit,
Right.
But they're like, so we started following around, chasing George around, driving him crazy. Fucking knocking on his door. That thing if I got the times, George chased us, coming with the green tongue. He still have it from the show.
Yeah.
The tongue was green. And you go into his gimmick, and me and Nobsy running down the aisles of George Washington. He chased us down the fucking block. I'm tired of you two.
What made you guys select George Steele?
I don't know. We just we go. That's George.
You picked the craziest
No,
guy.
Right.
At least on camera.
But our good friend was manager of the place of the Quality Inn across the street where George was staying.
Okay.
He was staying at George Washington, and he became friends with George.
Okay.
And he goes, I got these 2 guys, but it was Matt Millen, who 4 Super Bowl rings,
Matt
Oakland
Millen.
Raiders, San Francisco, Washington.
But wait a minute.
I mean,
He's
he's the one
you want
that
to hear
actually
a better?
told us. He just said, "Let me talk a minute." Jesus, big mouth.
Hide the foreign objects.
Anyway,
Well, you're the one that interrupted. He interrupted me.
He looked at us, and told us, "You guys are screwing up, and if you don't straighten up, you're probably gonna be thrown in jail." He said, "One of these days, it's gonna catch up to you."
Okay.
He says, "Why don't you guys try that pro wrestling? You like it." And then he's the one that really gave us a thing to say, "Oh, let's go after it." And then that's when we went after George, after Matt called us to his house. So we really respected Matt. He's playing for the pros, and he gave us a real good speech and got us to where we're at, you know.
Is he finished now?
Yeah, go ahead.
You have the floor.
I thought he was, Edgar Allan Poe writing the fucking long, this 300 episode Bible or something. I don't know. But anyway, funnier story. Who we met first was Gorilla Monsoon.
Okay.
So Joe McHugh was the old announcer. Remember Joe McHugh? He was a local guy, and he knew from athletics or my names and all that kind of stuff. So Joe McHugh goes, come down, and I'll introduce you to Gorilla. And so we walk in, me and him. This is maybe 82. And they go, and here Gorilla stands up with a big smile on his face. So, you guys want to get in the wrestling business? We go, yes, sir, we do. Let me give you a number. He writes down a number and gives it to us. We go, thank you so much. And they just call, and we go home. Now we go home, and we're like, are you going to call or the number? Well, let's wait till tomorrow to call the number. And we're going back and forth about the number and the number. And who's going to call the number? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but George Steele called me.
No, wait a minute. And so we finally go, all right, Knobs gets on the phone and calls the number. It was like, I think the number was 8675302. You know the song.
He gave you Jenny's number.
8675309.
You might have gotten Tommy Two-Tone.
But that was the first rib ever pulled on us. And we waited. We were anxious about calling the fucking number and waited for a couple of days. All right, we're gonna call. And it was a number. It's a fake number. Wow. Gorilla was probably back pissing his pants. These fucking two idiots with this number.
But we bugged George Steele so much that he said, "Come meet us at the Quality Inn." And he had Snuka, Paul Orndorff, and Bob Orton Jr. to stretch us.
Oh, Sheik.
And the Sheik at the
when these guys walk in,
and he's working.
Jump them.
Well, he's
we were going to get our ass
working,
kicked.
and I'm working, and I said, "Sorry, Mr. Steele, but we're both working. We love to make it this and that." He goes, "Well, if you guys are serious," he said, "you'll go to Vern Gagne's camp. Yeah. That'll either make you or break you." Up in Minnesota. And at the time, he had to write a resume and everything, and Matt was one of our references, and Brad was teaching the camp, Brad Reagans, who was an Olympic champion.
Right.
He won the bronze medal. He probably would have won the gold in 80, but they boycotted it because he beat the Russian in the World Games in 79. And the ring didn't even get set up for 3 months. We were on Olympic mats getting tossed around like feathers. He threw Leon White after Leon got out playing for the Rams, and Leon was like 380 pounds. He suplexed him right through the shower in the back, and we lived on the bottom of Brad's. So there's no way you can skip camp or everything. We were out there, and for 3 months on the Olympic mats. Then they finally, I'm going, I didn't sign up for this. I'm getting stretched every day. We're getting stretched, and then all of a sudden, every couple of days, Vern would come down, and after Brad had you totally exhausted, our grandmothers could have beat us. Now you got Vern coming in there, putting you in shooter holes, and you're going, And then all of a sudden the ring got set up. We started with 22 people, and me and him were the only ones to survive. And that's because our car broke down, and there was no way to get out of there.
You had to stay.
And we were on the bottom of Brad's house, so we had to be out there, So, but it was good training. It really was. And then from then, when we finally get the thing, we go, go through the school. We didn't jump right in the ring. Hell no. We had to drive the ring first. Then we refereed. I mean, it was another 6 months till we finally got in the ring.
What do you guys feel about nowadays when you read about these guys? And I don't want to label them, but hell, I will. Some of these guys who come across like prima donnas, they don't want to carry someone's bag. They don't want to go get them water or anything. What does that make you guys feel like after telling the stories of the price you guys paid to get into this business?
Well, it's sort of like with everything, and in life, these whether it's football, baseball, you got the old school and the new school, and you look at the guys, and you say not only it's not they're a victim of their product. Like the NFL. What do those old guys think now? What they can't use the helmet and the concussions.
You can't even touch the quarterback.
You got to, everything's got to be politically correct and all that kind of stuff. So we grew up in that old school era, where you didn't hang out with the guys and party and do run this route. You weren't in the business. You know what I mean? Different times. So now these young kids, they have to deal with a whole different circumstances. Now look at this coronavirus thing, and then they got the PG rating type thing where they can't no more to the head because of those concussions. Like we used to do the crazy stuff. So they're limited in all these ways, and there's no small territories for the younger guys to learn anymore to experience that kind of crap that we got to experience, you know.
And driving down the road together in the car after the match, talking over the match and that. And another thing is, a lot of the guys come in thinking, boom, I'm going to come in, I want to be the Rock right away. You got to pay your dues in anything to get better, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it's a good thing that Vince started the WWE Developmental so they could have, they run little shows all over Florida, so they get that. But when we were there, like we wrestled the Tennessee territory, that was 6 days a week, only 1 day off, and sometimes that wasn't off. And then, Monday was always Memphis, Tuesday was always Louisville, and Wednesday was always Evansville, and Wednesday's payoff was always $50. So, but you learned, and you learned from good guys that knew what they were doing, and we had
Do you think it's going to go back to the way it was, considering what's happening now with the third-party
Well, I'm glad
arguments?
there's other leagues out there now, like AEW, great. Ring of Honor, great. Impact Wrestling, great. NWA. So there's other places for people to go, and even people that made it, because for a while there, when Vince bought WCW, there was nowhere for nobody else to go. And if you didn't work with him, you didn't get, the pay you were getting, because you got paid. WCW was good. It was very professional. And they were the first ones that really started the contracts with the money you're getting, and if you get hurt, they still paid you. In Vince, if you didn't wrestle, you didn't get paid, and you signed a no-money contract. Back in the day, it was for no money,
for opportunity, right?
But he told us that we would make more than what we got offered, and we did by three times the amount when WCW first offered us a contract. But the match with the Steiners at Halloween Havoc, that's the match that got us to WWE, because Hulk called me and said, Vince McMahon wants to talk to you. And I was going, yeah, you're full of shit. He says, no, seriously. And he asked us to come up, and, that was our goal.
So speaking of that, how do you become friends with Hulk Hogan? How does that relationship even build?
He was down in Florida, and, we used to own a restaurant back in the day with our buddy Matty. And Matty actually owned the restaurant. We just came in as... like partners, but
both of you.
Yeah, both of us. But the hook there was
we were wrestling Florida Championship Wrestling,
and we were.
They remade it into a territory again, like from when Dusty was there, Mike Graham and Steve Kern. That's why we were in Florida.
Well, you guys won the belts 5 times down there.
We left Minneapolis, where we broke in, wrestled the AWA, then went to Memphis, then back to Minneapolis, then down to Florida, and then never really left there.
Then South Atlantic.
Then we was South Atlantic and started Dory Funk Center tag team tournament in Japan the first time, and then out of South Atlantic, Gene Anderson took us for the first Clash of Champions. I think it was in Asheville, North Carolina. We drove down with them and had our first match ever at WCW.
Against
that was, I think,
Terry Taylor and Jackie Fulton.
Late 80s, maybe.
Bobby's brother.
Maybe 88,
now,
89. I don't know.
So you became friends with Hogan, and were you friends with Mike Graham also?
Mike Graham, Steve Kern, but Steve Kern first. Yeah. Down in Tennessee, we became good friends with Steve
Skinner.
Yeah, Skinner, and he's a great guy. And he said, if you ever, want to come work, he had us down for a show, and he said to us, if you ever want to come down here and work the territory, if you ever leave AWA or that, and we happened to get fired again from AWA, and we just came down and showed up and said, we're here to wrestle. And Steve goes, so we lived in the North 6th and Albany, right off downtown Tampa there where the Sportatorium was. And we lived there for like a couple of weeks or maybe a month.
But Steve Kern and Stan Lane were the fabulous ones.
Yeah.
I don't know, remember that tag team?
Oh, I know.
They were huge.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And they're like the Rock and Roll Express was to the old NWA, it was a tag team.
Did Vince even realize what he had with Steve Keirn? Because the Skinner thing was like, what
Steve and Stan, they were the fabulous ones in Mid-South. We went to wrestle. We were there. There was a King. Jimmy was gone. A lot of the guys, Honky and all them, went to WWF.
Right.
But there was still Jeff Jarrett, Jerry, King Lawler was booking. We had all the old-timers there with us, a lot of the guys. Manny Fernandez, that Jackie Fargo was still around.
When we first finally started wrestling, they never put two young guys together ever, but they put us together. And, Vern Gagne, that's where we really learned. And Brad Riggins called Kurt and said, I think I got two guys that you're going to like. Then Kurt saw how we were and how we acted and took us in under his wing, and then we're getting taught by guys like Snuka, Colonel De Beers, Buddy Rose, guys that really know how to work.
Yeah,
and that's where we learned before we even went to the smaller territories. We were getting the beat-up guys, doing the beat-up scene, but you learned all the time, and they would always tell you things. And so we were there on two different occasions. And we were there the second occasion with Wahoo and Ray Stevens. What a great worker Ray Stevens was in Wahoo. He broke my nose two different times.
Steve came back to Tennessee while we were there for that year living in Nashville doing the territory. And we got to know Steve. He was done with the Fabs run, and he was back in Florida. And then he called us and said, I'm thinking of, starting, maybe you're thinking of two guys maybe to come down, of starting up Florida Championship Wrestling again. And him and Mike Graham did it. They restarted it because after Dusty went up with the NWA and then it got bought by Turner and that whole thing, it sort of fell by the wayside. And Mike just left to go out of business, and it happened with Eddie and stuff. But we said we love this. We flew in for the Eddie Graham Memorial. We went down from Minneapolis and wrestled on it. We go, I think it was Jim Backlund and Mickey J, the referee. Those guys?
Yep.
They picked us up at the airport, and we went, we've been in Pennsylvania, back and forth to Tennessee, but mainly living in Minneapolis for 4 years, in the frozen tundra up there. Oh my God, palm trees.
Right.
The sun's out.
Yeah.
I was just saying to Patera, why would you choose Minneapolis to live?
Well,
all places.
Ken's an old school mini guy, and the guys that are Minnesota guys, you can tell his accent. Minnesota has a great thing about it. It's a great city. We had a great time there, but it's a frozen tundra. But if you're from there, it's hard to get out of there. You know what I mean? They go with all the guys have that accent.
Yeah.
But a lot of the guys stayed. You look at the whole, Hawk and Animal were there. Kurt, Rick Rude, Brady Boone, Barry Darsow, T.J. Khan, Warlord, that whole crew, and then Jimmy Younger, who we became best friends with. That's who owned the gym, and that was Hawk and Animal's gym. We worked out there all the time, and there was a bar in it. So all the guys would meet, and the guys that were in down with WCW. Guys that come off the road, like Barry.
WCW wasn't even yet. It was Crockett. The three big
ones
in
'85 it was WCW ready, wasn't it?
No, it was Crockett.
Crockett, Vern.
It was Crockett and Vern and Vince.
But the guys who would come into town that were on the road that lived all in Minneapolis would work out, and we'd all drink together. So we got to know a lot of people. You know what I mean? All those guys, but they all stay living in Minnesota.
Sure.
It is a great town. It's a great place to be.
Sure.
You
know what I mean?
But after somebody would leave WWF at the time, a lot of them would go right to Vern. Vern would pick them up. So there was always big stars coming through. Nick Bockwinkel, nobody talks about him, but what a hell of a worker he was. But Kurt took us under his wing, and being with Kurt, and he was a great worker. But he was in there in the early '80s, and Fuji took him under his wing. So he got us into the ribbing shit. We got blamed for a lot of stuff Kurt did, but we were always with him. So and the Rockers got blamed too, Marty and Sean.
Once we got to a level where Brad started taking us to the matches out of the camp after we were on those mats for all that time and everything, and brutally tortured. We started going to the matches. Then we started having matches, but we had to drive the ring truck, referee, or do wrestle first match to every town. And I look back at it, and I listened to the Sheik story, and I never knew that here's Sheik, bodyguard to the Shah, and an Olympic champion from Iran, and Vern has him refereeing and driving the ring truck. And then I just saw something from a while back because I was on YouTube, but it was Larry the Axe, Kurt's dad, telling me, when Vern, I came in the Vern Gagne, but I refereed and drove the ring truck. I'm like, what? He did that too? I thought that was pretty awesome. So that was the old school, pay your dues, start from the bottom kid type thing. You know what I'm saying?
But it did
But
help.
Kern, Steve, we went down to Florida, and then we were wrestling Florida Championship Wrestling. Our buddy needed help in a restaurant. We started doing that, and who really got us hooked up with Hulkster the first time was Greg the Hammer.
Okay.
We got to know Greg and his wife Julie, and they were always on the road, so we got to know him really good. And then they said, Julie, I think, told Hulk, "Hey, you guys got to go over to see these guys, this restaurant, these crazy nasty boys or something." That's how. Then Hulk brought the whole family in when we were closed. We ate and met, all of us.
Just out of curiosity, public perception coming as from a fan, it was pretty obvious that Knobs and Hogan became very close on screen and everything, and in general like that. Were you also as close with Hogan during this time?
See, we had different deals when we went home.
Okay.
I had 2 young kids with my wife, and I laid low when I went home.
Okay.
Where Knobs and Tone and now Knobs married Knobs and Greg the Hammer's wives are sisters.
Okay.
So they never had kids. We're both single, so they get home and they go boom with Hawk, and then at the same time was going. Knobs started partying with Hawk and Brutus. Bushwhacker Beach was big, and they didn't have kids either. Hawk lived over there. Brutus was always there, and Bushwhacker Luke lived right in the beach, and that was the go-to party spot. But when I came home, I lay low with the kids and wife. So Knobs with Hulk, the Bushwhacker, they all was calling stuff, and once in a while we go Christmas parties and all that stuff.
I was going to ask,
but I was really good friends with Terry.
Did you feel the pull? I mean, I know you're at home with your family. Priorities are priorities, but did you feel the pull? Like, hey, man, we're having a great time here with Hulk.
When there was those times when we'd go over, like we'd meet up with the boats or something, or or at the beach bars, or there's different times. But Knobs, once him and Knobs got together, they were together every day.
Man.
You know what I mean?
Every day together, worked out with them. Was in the best shape of my life, and every day there was something, my wife and me never had no kids, so we go over and hang out, have a good time, and he's just a good guy, man.
Did you help him? Did you help him through it?
From a lot of people, but nobody knows.
You got to realize who all lived in that area.
Yeah.
When we were Florida Championship Wrestling, then went WCW, then the WWE. That's with them guys, right? But in that area at the time was Hulkster. I was tight with Randy.
Right.
He's after he got divorced from Liz. He was my neighbor.
Right.
He lived on
Treasure Island,
He lived on Treasure Island with me, so we went out, did all kind of stuff together.
Right.
We were neighbors with a family or whatever. He was dating a girl at the time. We were always around. But Macho, Hawk lived there. Davey Boy and Anvil moved into town.
Wow.
The Bushwhackers lived in the town.
Oh,
Greg
boy.
the Hammer lived there. Brutus and Hawk. Everybody
got
was there.
to come down because back in the day, we were on the road 300 days a year. So when you get off the road, you wanted to go somewhere where it's going to be nice, and usually Florida's nice. I mean, during the summer, you have the humidities, but
we had family events though too, like Harry Smith, Davey Boy in Georgia, the Davey Boy's kids, and Jim the Anvil and Ellie, the Natty and her 2 sisters, when they were this big at my house, when the kids were little, we'd have birthday parties with a lot of stuff together with the people that were down there that had kids.
Guys,
like that.
It's not easy to ask this, but I'm going to try. My partner and I, we grew up during the time of Hulk Hogan, Hulkamania.
Yeah.
Your guys' era too. I mean, all that whole time period, we love Hulk Hogan. Okay.
Yeah.
When this racist thing came out and the tapes and all this other stuff, I was personally heartbroken because here's my hero getting absolutely slaughtered for these tapes coming out and stuff. How did you guys feel when people were throwing Hogan under the bus?
It's one of the thing about the times changing, because the guy's not a racist. But everyone, if you're loaded or telling a story or joking around, you say the N-word or something like that. I mean, if you're in a spotlight because of the tensions and stuff that are out there, like a TV station you're working for, if you guys would you all of a sudden your sponsors drop you,
right?
And that because of the racial bullshit, and it is wrong. You know what I mean? But
sure.
I like it when we joke around and stuff. But I like the rappers and the songs. They can talk. There's different ways to say it. That word is almost like the Donnie Brasco movie. You forget about it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It has like. It's a word that
Yeah.
can mean different. If if a black guy's talking to a black guy, you're talking to your black buddy. What's up? You see, it's like a hugging thing, right? So it's a word that it may means. But
Rodman tried to stick up for him. He was like, he's not a racist.
Oh, he's not a racist
at
at all.
Rodman
No.
said it. Nobody cared.
But I mean,
but the bad thing about it is there is bad racism in our country, which is fucked up.
Right.
And I mean, if next to the Native Americans, who got fucked over the worst than the black people of America.
Right.
They were just hanging out and fucking doing their thing in their own country, and you get kidnapped, and you're forced to be into slavery.
Right.
You think they wanted that?
No.
So what the fuck? We're the ones that forced them to come over here.
Right.
So now and since then they've been getting fucked over. So that's the situation. But if certain in the public light now, it's because it's such a hot thing because there are idiot fucking racist fucking redneck morons that when they say that word, that means that word in a bad way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's me and Knobs joking around with Virgil or the Godfather, you son of a bitch, we're laughing around about it, you know what I mean? It's a different thing,
Did you guys give him a call, when this was happening to Hulk Hogan?
We
always, would tell him, bro, in the past, you're not no racist. You're the nicest guy in the world. You do so many things for charities, and you help everybody out.
Was he deeply?
But was there really people that thought that he was like didn't like black people?
Of course, there's people out there who think that.
No, it was a bad look. He had bad moments.
Yeah.
Of course,
Well, it wasn't even supposed to be. I never liked that guy, Bubba the Love Sponge.
I was about to say, Bubba set him up,
and
right?
I told him that, and I didn't like when
she
Bubba
tried
the
to
Love
warn him.
Sponge used to come in, to the locker room with Hulk. He'd act like he was part of the group and just walk in the, you don't just walk in the locker room. Everybody's paid their dues that's sitting in there. We're a fraternity of brothers. You are a DJ trying to be a Howard Stern, and now where are you? You're nowhere because you screwed over a lot of people and you did what you did. I mean, that's just crazy.
You broke people's trust.
And he hit Hulk at a bad time. Hulk was going through divorce and everything, so that just wasn't right. And then however it got out there, that was a personal thing there. And Bubba the Love Sponge, to me, no good. And finally, Hulk finally said you were right because I always knew there was something about.
Did you guys
this guy,
Did you guys see Dave Chappelle do on SNL? Mm-hmm. Wasn't that funny as shit?
That was funny as hell,
He's
man.
smart. They're smart motherfucker.
Chappelle is one of the greatest comedians of all time.
Where does that shit come from?
The Chappelle Show when that first came out.
He was using the N word when it's funny, almost like Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy. You know what I mean? That's fucking hilarious.
He had humor with the Chinese, the whites, the Italians, everybody.
How about the thing he did? He did with Uncle Ben, and because of the thing they threw out Aunt Jemima, like they're taking the Native American names off the teams, that type of thing, because it's like it all builds up to that same thing.
How about the black-white, blind white supremacist? Yeah. The guy was blind, but he was black, and he thought he was white, and he was a white supremacist. It's pretty good.
That's hilarious.
But it is.
But he made a joke. It was so funny about throwing Aunt Jemima.
Yeah.
And Uncle Ben off the boxes, because it represented, I guess, like she would be Aunt Jemima would be like a lady that's a slave lady or something, or compared
nanny
to
or cook or something.
Yeah, like that. But
I think at some points we have to. But
wasn't the real person mad about it or something? You're taking Aunt Jemima off.
There's so much crap going on now. I understand, like you said. People have right to be angry, but it's
about everything and anything.
What really sucks is it brings to light, and now you really think about it, which is good for this country.
Yeah, but
because it's happened. You go back to the 1960s with Martin Luther King. Robert F. Kennedy got shot and all this stuff. And then when Elvis had his comeback, 3 or 4 hours, I watched that documentary before he was supposed to go on. They're watching the little Elvis is nervous, is his comeback, and it comes across the news. They're watching a little TV in there. Robert Kennedy got shot. And in like 4 minutes, he said, "Give me my guitar," and he came up with that, "If I Can Dream." And the words that he's saying now, back in 1968, resonated what's going on today. Right. And that's been how long ago? And it's like, when is things going to change? And it has to change. It does.
To every action, there's an answer. I think some motherfuckers fanning the flames. There's a shit disturber. Somebody's trying to stir up some type of race bullshit war. You know what I mean? With these crazy motherfuckers.
There's a lot of stirring.
And there's a shit stirring going on. Somebody's fanning the fucking flames.
There's a lot of stirring.
You know what I mean? And that's a fact.
If you didn't know better, you'd swear that the media wants us all to hate each other. If you didn't know
something,
better.
Like what the fuck, right?
Yep.
You gotta cooler heads. Gotta
let's stir a race war. Let them kill each other.
When 9/11 happened, it only lasted for about a year and a half, but everybody was together. Everybody was saying hello to each other. Everybody was saying, and it changed.
Because everybody was America.
It only took like a year and a half to we're back in that same old stupid rut again, and everybody's being like that. And
hard to argue.
Yeah, it sucks, but I'm glad we need a change. You know what I mean?
Unplugging
and
the
Black
internet.
Lives Matter, dude. I'm all aboard because I got a lot of black friends. He has a lot of black friends.
Yeah, but you think about this stirring the shit thing. Going into these southern towns, right? And here's a thing that's been up since the Civil War. Why should that guy? They're right about it, but ripping the fucking statues down in the these rednecks. You tell me that isn't pissing people those fuckers off?
Absolutely.
That's our what's his name? General Lee. You can't. You know what I mean? If they're still living the Civil War, the fuck out. You know, and now you rip it down. That's fanning the fucking flames.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And then they're just shooting black kids on the fucking street like it's a target practice.
Right.
I just seen a thing where the cop, there's two kids in the car, he wouldn't pull over. He's yelling, "Stop, stop!" I'm like, shoot the fucking tires. He unloaded the clip in the windshield and killed the two fucking kids. I'm like, can't you shoot a tire out and handcuff them?
It's got to change, man. It's just
why is everybody they're just shooting people at will?
Right.
And that then you got to just everything's a shit stirring. Like probably I don't remember it that good, but if you go back to 68 or 9. I was just 7, 8 years old then, so you don't realize that kind of shit's going on.
And we grew
but it
up
was like that.
North.
Close to that it's coming now, like it was then, like in full circle. Don't you think so?
You guys are from the North. We're from the North. My wife is from Nashville. But what a difference from the people in the North, and because people in the North, when we were in the North, we never had any of that. It wasn't like that for us. You know what I mean? It just wasn't. We took everybody as everybody's equal.
I agree, especially if you're in athletics, right?
I don't know why it was like that, but down south...
The Indians got ripped off. We stole the land and put them on reservations. The black people got drugged from another country, were made slaves. But after slavery ended, our great-grandparents and grandparents, everybody that came into Ellis Island was used as a slave in some way. You had to work, you owed your soul to the company store type thing.
That's right.
The coal miners and the steel workers all got fucked and had to pay their dues to come up, but not that bad. You know what I mean? You were getting paid, but ended up at the end of the week owing the boss money. How does was that not being a slave in a way?
Right.
You know what I mean? So there's up in the Northeast up here, all them generations. For our family, the Polish, Slovaks, Irish, Germans, everybody, Italians, all came in Ellis Island, and that's when all the high quality. It makes New York City, the neighborhoods, you know what I mean?
I don't like talking about it because I grew up always loving everybody, love your fellow man, and no matter who, what color, what race, whatever, and everybody's together. We're all trying to do the same thing and try, the one goal is to do whatever job you're at, do it the best you can, and make money. So I was never, ever like that in my entire life. So I would take everybody the same. Hey, can I take a break quick? Take
We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and then we'll get back to the Nasty Boys.
We shall return.
Hey, give me...
The Monty and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite four-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah. Jeff Quest, graphics design, custom vinyl lettering, and all your art and video needs. 516-317-8204. That's for Jeff Quest, graphic design.
In the mood for a freshly roasted cup of coffee? www.offtherailscoffeeroasters.com. Jimmy, I gotta take a dump.
What?
No, I mean I need a dumpster.
Well, for all those needs, you need to call Big V Dumpster Rental, Long Island, New York, 631-900-DUMP.
You want to star in your own success? Call QuickCast, www.quickcast.com, 866-7-CAST-NOW. That's 866-7-CAST-NOW. QuickCast.
Start your own success.
Jimmy, I just got the best hookup on tickets.
Fill me in.
I went to www.seatslinks.com and ordered the best tickets with the best prices.
Call 718-676-0504. SeatsLink, the complete ticket experience.
Tell them Charles sent you. You need a body shop? You need engine repair? Auto Excellence, Collision Specialists, 631-261-6420. That's 631-261-6420. Auto Excellence.
That's right, folks. Canine Corral for all your dog daycare and overnight care. Call 631-549-1544. That's 631-549-1544. And APB, American Protection Bureau, voted #1 best on Long Island for all your security needs. Call 631-390-9050. That's 631-390-9050. APB.
Jimmy, I gotta take a dump.
What?
No, I mean I need a dumpster.
Well, for all those needs, you need to call Big V Dumpster Rental, Long Island, New York, 631-900-DUMP. The Monty and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite four-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah. The Monty and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite four-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking.
What just happened?
Welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty and the Pharaoh, which is now called
Monty?
Anderson and the Pharaoh. Seen every Thursday, produced out of Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, New York, and we are back,
Mike?
with one half of the Nasty Boys. That's right. That's right.
What?
That's right. Mike's not
Mike
here.
is gone.
Mike's not in the hat. Mike is not in the hat. The reinforcer has taken center stage. And you know what? We just want to hear something, all right? Listen, Jerry, you know you're one of my best friends. You've eaten at my house. You were there with the table that broke. We went through many things, including...
I heard the table story today. I didn't know the storm destroyed it.
You don't remember the storm? No, the storm didn't destroy it. Somebody threw a rock through it.
Last time I saw the table, brother, the Metal Maniac was sitting at it.
Metal Maniac was holding court. And
it was your birthday.
My 50th birthday. Remember that?
Yeah.
We had a huge-ass 50th birthday party.
Yeah, that was, what, 16 years ago, right?
Man.
Oh, man.
Rough.
So, you know what? I have to ask this. You guys seem to get heat over what happened with Ken Shamrock.
You mean heat?
Heat.
Well, I don't know. I mean, people get mad about it?
Well, like who? And here comes Knobs. Knobs is back in the scene.
Knobs is back.
Go get a seat, Knobs.
He's already. I didn't know you.
We're already
You don't know I took over the stage. So let me ask you a question. Who grabbed Shamrock's friend's tits?
What?
That's all I want to know. Which one of you grabbed the Shamrock's friend's tits?
Nobody.
Shamrock claims that Zags almost killed him, and that Knobs grabbed his friend's tits.
No.
That's a old...
Old story.
Yeah.
Pass.
It was
Sick
a
of talking about it.
It was
Jeez,
just a bad...
1989.
It was a bad experience, and it ended up bad, and I think we're all past it. But they got.
I'm not sure Ken is.
Our nice friends in our business keep, our buddies stir the shit. Stir it up.
Oh yeah, I love to do it.
Let's
you know
watch
what?
Shamrock beat Sags on the head.
Well, you know what? I'm going to change the
I'm
subject.
going to get them all fired up.
And we were all drinking, so everybody's drunk. So. This weirder stuff happens when you're blitzoed, especially when you're young. You're talking 89.
Yeah, but what about when Brutus? What about when Brutus
shoved? Monty calling from beyond saying change the subject.
What about?
Okay.
Hey, what about?
All right, Mike.
What about when Brutus shoved Drew around?
Did that really happen?
Remember you were crying.
I think that was Missy shoved me around.
Oh. Yeah.
Listen, I change the subject. I remember in Queens, New York, approximately 4 or 5 years ago, there was an event at Citi Field called Legends of Wrestling that I happened to be a part of, and I just remember sitting in the locker room, and Bill Goldberg is giving a speech, and he says, "Guys, can you just imagine? Can you imagine this? This is a surreal moment. Knobs is running the event."
Yeah, Ric Flair said that too, but...
and you did a bang-up job, man.
Yeah, well, back in the day, me and Jimmy started the XWF with Greg.
Yep.
Greg the Hammer, and that was after they got rid of WCW, so there was not a group out there. And we only had the guys for 60-day contract, and we were trying to sell the tape and get it edited, and all the guys Vince got rid of, he started picking back off again. That's why I figured... when Jeff started his league, after us in the same place, Vince never went after him at once, but we had everybody. We had our announcers were Tony Schiavone and Jerry the King Lawler. We had Bobby the Brain Heenan, the Road Warriors, Snook. I mean, everybody. Everybody that when this was in.
Was this the Goldberg versus Steiner?
No. This is pre
I
that.
was thinking of that.
This is pre that.
Okay.
This was right after Vince bought WCW. There was no other company.
Gotcha.
And I came up with this idea, and we got it back, and we shot at Universal or Disney. I think it was Universal Studios.
Okay.
And we at the time, Vince was getting rid of all the older guys, Mr. Perfect, everybody, and out of a job. And then Hulk called me up and said, "Hey, can I wrestle?" And we put him against Mr. Perfect. Bobby the Brain was Kurt's manager, and that job right there, and the fans were still behind him, and he still had the Hulkamania. And that next year, we shot it in November, WrestleMania 18, he wrestled The Rock, And Hulkamania went running wild again, back to the red and yellow, and and what a great match he had with The Rock. You know what I mean? So
sure.
Yeah, so I did that, and then I came up with this Legends of Wrestling, and that was to do it for Major League Baseball, NHL. We did it. We did almost every Major League sport. Where we take a bunch of legends, come there early, sign, tell stories, then sign autographs during the baseball game to help some of the baseball teams out when they weren't doing so good. The Rays started it in 2007, and I was their 10th man. Coming on the board to cheer everybody up. And then it went to football and everything like that. And then the one guy that was my student, Frank Santini, he said, "Hey, you should start get everything trademarked and everything like that."
Yeah, but then Drew wrestled on that card, and that was it for the company.
But we sold out a 45-seat
I never seen such a match. My God,
Detroit 2 years in a row.
There he is over there.
On
that
18th
is him.
And,
didn't he wrestle Marco?
2018, 2019, and then this year
did you
was
wrestle
canceled.
Marco?
But then it started spreading
or the
out.
Hammer. You wrestled the Hammer?
I wrestled Hammer managed me on that show.
Hammer,
so
that's a good deal.
And I'm still having it.
I like that
since
combination.
This
Put her in a court. We got two different conversations going on.
Oh.
Andrew, rule number one. Go on.
Ever since
when he took over, brother, he takes over.
Ever since
it's his show now.
COVID, it knocked everything down. There's there's no fans that even know sporting events. So why would they need people to fill the buildings? But we did the Pittsburgh Pirates, 37,000.
Nice.
It was me, him, Kurt Angle, Booker T, Tito Santana, Scotty Steiner. Then Scotty, they had the Progi race, and Scotty popped out and clotheslined the one guy. That made Major League Baseball ESPN. And then the one we did down for the Florida Marlins, Goldberg was throwing out the first pitch. So he says, "Hey, I want to spear somebody." So I took the guy that was my partner now, Frank Santini, and he knew how to wrestle. But the Colorado Rockies wouldn't give him a jersey, so he wore a purple jersey, and he found a Colorado Rockies hat. So after Bill threw the pitch, he went out like making fun of him, and walked out between the pitcher's mound and the catcher's, the home plate, and Bill speared him and got a big pop, and that hit ESPN and all over. So it really helped the company out. You know what I mean? So
and you had 2 great years in a row with Detroit's Legends of Wrestling.
Yeah, yes.
Sold out houses in the hockey arena.
And we had we had Flair both times, but we had Sting, Animal, Ted DiBiase. I mean, everybody you can think of. And then the next year we switched it around with all other kind of legends. And we had, it was just the Detroit's people are always, emailing us to our Legends of Wrestling, the website and, the Facebook and that stuff. When are you coming back to Detroit?
What about that, guys? How about the live event stuff that the Corona crap did?
Well,
that's what I said.
That's crazy.
That's
you know what I
put a
mean?
stranglehold on everything.
I mean, look at it. Ain't just not right watching the sports without the fan reaction.
It doesn't feel right at all, guys. While I still got you here, I wanted to ask you 2 quick things, very important to me. What do you consider the greatest moment of your career? Is it WrestleMania 7 when you defeated the Hart Foundation at WrestleMania?
Most definitely.
Does it get any better than that?
No.
And what's your opinion, while I have you here, and while it may be common knowledge, I would just like to hear it from myself. What is your opinion on the man who basically gave you the biggest platform to perform off in your career, Vince McMahon? Where do you sit with Vince McMahon today?
We sit good. I mean, we're just... He's a businessman, and now, since he took it public, he's a billionaire, and, it's like anybody working for the boss. The boss is always going to be the boss. So, you take the good with the bad, but, he was always good with us, and Shane's used to drive with us. He roomed with us for 3 months, and the last time he was in a room with us, he was close to home. I don't know if it was Hartford, Connecticut, and he called his dad and said, "Okay, Dad, I'm going to stay with the Nasty Boys tonight." And all of a sudden, you hear this, "Yeah, okay, yeah, Dad, okay, all right, okay, I'll see you soon." And he hung up the phone, and he said, "Dad won't let me stay with you guys no more." I said, "Why? What did we do?"
What did we do?
But we were, teaching him, because Vince made Shane do every aspect of the business. He swept put up the ring, referee. I mean, he did every aspect of learning the business, and on the business side too. Very good guy, one of our best friends, and we know Stephanie since she's been real small, and Triple H used to drive us with Lord Regal when we were in WCW, and when he was leaving up to WWE or
that reminds me of something.
He was going up to WWF or WWE. I don't know what it was called at the time. Me and Zach both said, hey, we're going to call Shawn for you because Shawn Michaels is a good friend of ours. He roomed with us. He was our roommate on a couple different occasions growing up in the business. And we said, go look for Shawn, and he did. And then before you know it, the Click was, born. So,
cool. I wanted to. I can't find something. You guys are good at finding it. When we won the belts in L.A. at that time with the Hart Foundation, greatest thing. You just mentioned to him first. But after we won it, because it had such heat, we did an interview with Marla Maples, which was Donald Trump's wife at the time. And Vince McMahon and Donald Trump are standing in front of us, and Vince goes, now nobody get all, you're celebrating stuff, but nobody touch, Marla and stuff like that.
No champagne on Marla.
And that meant, to us, rip Marla apart. But I loved, Piper came in on it. I think the Mountie and Dino, we had champagne, and Marla got kissed, and Marla Maples got the champagne on her, it was spritzed all around. And I remember Vince, but I can't find that, but especially now with Trump becoming the president and all the shit
that was probably
that's
pulled.
going on. You know what I mean?
But
we did that. I mean, it was like Stone Cold did the thing. You see that a lot.
Right.
But I wonder, I can't find it anywhere. It's got to be. It was after the
stars. Regis, Alex Trebek was on there. Marla Maples.
Sure.
Willie Nelson sang America the Beautiful.
Speaking of singing, do you guys remember who wrote your theme song by any chance?
Jimmy
Jimmy
Hart.
Baby.
Jimmy Hart, J.J. McGuire, and
Jimmy Hart was our first manager.
We need to get somebody on the phone, but the phone is locked up over here.
Oh, well, that could be the
do you guys know Jimmy's past, right? You're big.
Jimmy was part of the Gentries.
Yeah, Jimmy told us. That's what drew me and Knobs to Sunset Strip. He told us about being in 1966 with the Yardbirds and the Doors and all the nonsense on the Sunset Strip. Can you imagine at that time?
No.
Jimmy was there.
I'd like to.
So Jimmy's always been into music and everything.
And that McGuire is Jimmy's partner. They used to write songs for the
guys. On the phone right now is
Does he live here?
McGuire.
Yeah, tell him I said hello. He's Jimmy's partner.
He says, "What's going on up there?"
How you doing, man? It's cold up here. Ready to go back down to Florida?
I heard that loud and clear.
Yeah.
I tell you, the Nasty Boys, I'm going to tell you what Jimmy Hart says. Jimmy Hart says one of the greatest times of his life of traveling with the Nasty Boys, and that picture of them in front of the Eiffel Tower in the long jackets is one of the greatest promo pictures ever taken in wrestling, period.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
You're right about that. That is a good
Jimmy
shot.
was our best manager ever. He was our first manager that we ever had, and he took care of us up in the WWE. Or WWF at the time, and he had a stable of guys all the time. But Jimmy's the man. He still is. He's still a good friend of mine, and we know J.J. McGuire because they wrote a lot of tunes back in the day.
Yep.
For Vince.
Hey, we got to get a picture of that for the fans. Eiffel Tower one.
They even did.
That's a good
Vince McMahon,
shot. He did it. The guy did it panoramic, looking up at the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
You also did Demolition's music, the Superfly music,
and they did
Road Warriors.
Shawn Michaels.
Michaels too.
Hey,
he really got just a boy toy.
Ask him if he helped.
WWF, WWE, and WCW.
He did.
But I'll tell you,
did he ask him if he?
And Sags are, their characters are one of the greatest. Their gimmick is they are the gimmick. They didn't need a gimmick because what they are is the gimmick. There was nothing like them.
No, you can say that again.
Yeah.
You can say that again.
Well,
good or bad, but hey, ask him if he was on. I think Jimmy wrote the music with the Simon Cowell, that WrestleMania one where it's all on there. It was a platinum seller. Did he produce that with Simon Cowell?
Yeah, we went over. Hulk and Jimmy and myself went over to Simon's home mansion studio, and we met him. And Hulk did some overdubs on "Leader of the Gang," a remake of the Gary Glitter song.
And the first time is he still talking? I can't hear him over
there.
there.
It was unbelievable, really. And who knew? I mean, Simon Cowell was a a big famous producer at that time as well. But yeah, we did some stuff over there when we were in England promoting, the Wrestling Boot Band.
Well,
and also
I didn't know about.
'92. Yeah.
I didn't know that story until I saw A&E, the lifetime of Simon Cowell, what was the show, American Idol. Mm-hmm. The money he made on that, huge. But he goes, and he was telling it was the lifetime story. He's telling a story going, yeah, well, I got my break in the business. I ran into, it was Jimmy Hart or Hulk at the something, and then they made a meeting with me with Vince McMahon. I said, I'd like to do a WrestleMania album. And they go, well, okay, so Jimmy and these guys wrote the music, and we sang the songs, and all of us were on that album cover. And he goes, yeah, and who would believe that thing went, triple platinum overseas and stuff. I'm like, and then I was thinking to myself, hey, I sang on that. Where's my triple platinum royalty?
Nasty House was the first one, and then the second one was Nasty Sensation, and then we did Judy the Beauty. Oh, she's looking so right.
Yeah.
Wasn't that Jake's ex-wife, Judy the Beauty?
Wow.
Well, that's good talk. It's good talking to you, JJ.
Does he live here?
He lives in Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh, he's in Tennessee.
All right, Jimmy, we got JJ. We got to let you go, buddy. We're gonna close up the show.
Hey, good hearing from you,
Good
bro.
talking to you, my friend.
From you, JJ.
Bye-bye.
All right.
That's funny.
J.J. McGuire.
JJ McGuire, ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen.
Composer of many
He wrote
great
all that.
songs.
Him and Jimmy Hart were in cahoots. They wrote all that music, all that stuff.
Now, me and the Nasty Boys go back a ways, too, right? We go back. Knobs and I been friends for a long time.
I met you first, and I brought Sags up, but that's when Sag wasn't doing the stuff yet. But I met you through my brother-in-law, Greg the Hammer.
Through Greg, and
Were you guys at a mutual show where you were competing? Or?
No, we actually won Greg canceled that on something. Knobs came in, and me and Knobs and friends.
Greg
ever
canceled?
Since. Greg canceled?
I can't
Never.
imagine that. What are you talking about?
Well, one of the first times I remember meeting Drew was that first WrestleMania in New Orleans. What was that? 6 years ago?
That was a long time
or 7
ago.
years ago.
WrestleMania 30.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what was the signing thing everybody does? WrestleCon, right? So me and Oz, I think Doug goes, "Hey, you guys want my table?" So we went up and did it. Doug, he couldn't make because he was doing, I think, something Hall of Fame. Maybe that's when Hacksaw got in there. And who's writing back to us? We're signing, sitting here. Is Greg in? He goes, "Hey, this is my buddy Drew." And I saw Drew around. He goes, "Hey, how you doing?" Next thing here, me and Oz are signing here. Crack! I go, what the? And we turn around, and they got a gimmick going. Him and Greg, it's like talk about carnies, right? Yeah. He's charging people the marks to chop them.
And I'm chopping.
I'm like, dude, I said, you're going to.
People
you're going to break.
How much a chop?
$50.
I don't know, but
$50 a chop.
But he would chop them so hard. I go, you're going to break these skinny guys' ribs.
We did.
I said, you're going to be dead here
and
or
they
something.
They were doing the figure four
because
too.
you hear like a thump, boom, and then now time goes by. Hey man, Drew's going to get in trouble chopping these people. He's going to crack somebody's ribs, and there's going to be the cops will be or something. So next thing I hear no, ow, ooh, and I turn around. I thought somebody was getting the chop again. Now. It's hammers on the ground and got the guy in the figure four in their charge. I said, it's like a carnival duo.
Bushwhacker Luke was taking pictures with his cell phone saying, nobody's going to believe this, mate.
And when you go into figure four, it's a painful son of a bitch and hold you're in. You can snap any knees.
I am no longer a mark because I'm not paying anybody.
But Greg was doing it.
What are you talking about
here? You're in pro wrestling, dude. Just like baseball has theirs. Football has theirs.
Sure.
It's a fraternity of brothers that we really look after and care for each other, and especially back coming through the 80s and 90s. And them guys we're still good friends with everybody. The Steiners, Bret Hart, Hacksaw. You just name it. I mean, and Hulk, Bill Goldberg. I mean, I still talk to everybody. And Booker T. I was just with The Godfather. Doing a reality show, and it might be coming out next year called Tales from the Road, where we're going to go and talk to some of the legends about, instead of this dark side of the ring, always downing the business and this. Hey, we had great times in the business. Right. We have no complaints at all. I'm beat up after.
Do you guys ever feel that way about? We were talking about the media that nobody wants to hear good news.
Right. No.
You turn the news on. It's like you want to see the murders, how many,
and we've been conditioned.
And you're like you want to get shocked and see the bad news.
And people wonder why wrestling's WWE's ratings are down. It's because the media has the baby face with CNN and the heels with Fox, and they're doing wrestling better than wrestling is.
Yeah,
pretty much. You're right.
Yeah.
So. Well, guys, we got to wrap it up. I want to thank the Nasty Boys very much for coming down.
Hey,
the great Andrew Anderson,
my brother.
It's great to have Drew.
Mike Monty, get in here. Mike, get in here.
Who has pulled a Dr. Seuss? Where is he? Where is he? If I summon him, there he is. There he is.
It's almost time to put.
That's how Drew looks without his wig.
Hey, you know what the funniest thing I ever said? Remember, you know my assistant Jason, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What Jason says to Greg one time, he goes, "Hey, Hammer." He goes, "Is it true you keep your wig on a styrofoam head by the side of the bed and your teeth in a jar?"
Oh my God!
Greg looked at him. And goes, "Fuck you, you cross-eyed freak."
Gotta get ready, put on the mask. I'm telling everybody out there, wear your mask, wash your hands. This virus is
I got one right here.
No bullshit. And just be safe out there, everybody, man.
And everybody have a happy Thanksgiving. And from the Nasty Boys, what kind of Thanksgiving is going to be?
It's going to be a nasty, happy Thanksgiving.
That's right, baby.
Hey, we love you guys. Without you guys, we wouldn't be sitting here right now. With you guys, the fans is what made us. And we like going to the Comic-Cons and talking and signing autographs for you guys. Makes us feel good. We couldn't do it this year because of coronavirus, so let's all stick together. In 2021, we'll be back to.
And Knobs, where can they get a mask? Where can they get a Nasty Boy mask?
Breakneckgear.com. They have a bunch of them. They have the Nasty Boys. They have Bret Hart. They have Hacksaw, and they have Animal. So they have all kind of stuff: shirts, socks, masks, everything. So check it out, breakneckgear.com. But
and wrestling fans, I'll see you December 12th in Greenville, Texas for SWE Fury.
All right, folks, you've been watching Monty and the Pharaoh, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Drew's going to Texas.
Later.
Take care.